Video number 2. I think a lot of people don't like to be called out. A lot of people don't want to be accountable. They don't want to take blame. They don't see anything in their own fault, whether that's a part of not having, a lack in self-awareness. I am what I term a super empath. There's only 2% of super empaths in this world. That means you are an empath that is over and above. You are really, really highly hyper empath. You have a hyper empathy for others and self, where you feel their emotions, where you can actually go into burnout just by reading somebody's story and hearing about the difficulties in their emotions. You don't even have to be around it. You can read it and feel it. That's what a super empath is to me. That's how I am. Super empaths, in my case, I'm very hyper self-aware. Somebody can tell me something about myself. If they want to tell me something negative about myself, probably 99%, I'm aware of that and I'll agree with you. I'm at the point now, I think I just don't give a shit. I was burnt out my whole life, my whole parenting life, and fought systems continuously, got nowhere, and get to a point when you're hit a stage and your kids get older. One, our son will always be with us. He's high support needs. He can't remain at home alone. There's a lot of things that he can do that people don't give him credit for because they look at the outside. They see this high support needs child. And I am battling within myself to show people that there are things that he can do, and just because he's autistic and presents to be more on the severe end doesn't mean he's not a man. Doesn't mean, he hasn't been taught to safety, and people think that can't come. In those years when Justin was little, I never envisioned where we would be right now. Never. And that's why I keep on talking about don't give up. Keep on pushing as hard as it is. Seek help, professional help if you need it. Seek out a diagnosis, which I know there are extensive wait lists for yourself. People don't, people are talking about the validity of self-diagnosis. Self-diagnosis for me, it would have helped me understand myself better. I wouldn't have preached to people about their lives, but for me, I needed to know why I'm struggling the way that I am and how that affects my parenting, my ability to care for a son who will be with us forever. We're going into what I call the second half of life. So let me get into Christmas because I'm getting right off topic. ADHD. This is ADHD. I am authentic. I'm not going to ever filter or edit or do anything with my videos because I don't give a shit. I look the way I look. I talk the way I talk. I'm not confrontational, but I'm not afraid to question things. I'm very inquisitive. I want to learn. I want to learn from so many different people. I want to hear your stories. If you have trauma, I understand. I'm not here to judge. I have trauma. Justin has trauma. I have CPTSD, and so does Justin. It's directly from fighting broken systems. That is the cause of it. Because when you have broken systems and you don't have a support as a family and for the individual that you're supporting, for autistic individuals, this is what creates, environments that aren't conducive to that child, teen, or adult. Hence, the reason why we have meltdowns. It's the social pressures of trying to make your kids learn, blend in, sit still, follow the rules. They should not be non-compliant. It's cut and dry. And for my life, it's not cut and dry. Justin is autistic, ADHD. There were certain things that would have worked for him because he had autism, and other things that wouldn't have because he had ADHD. And one day it might work, one day it might not work. 1 year it might work, 1 year it might not work. And that's what created the anxiety with me, trying to control the environment around us, not in a bad way, in a way that I could protect him, protect myself, my nervous system. Now that I know why I was so anxious, trying to plan and have everything just perfect before we walked out the door, because if you forgot your headphones, if you forgot a calming fidget toy or a favorite item, meltdown. And when you have anxiety, that's all you think about. It consumes you, and it's very common with the mothers. And, people should not be going after mothers the way they do. Every situation is different. I'm not one to judge. I will never judge. That's not my job. That's just not me. And I don't do that because I don't want people doing that to me. So during the holidays, Justin was diagnosed at 18 months. He was a baby. We didn't, those years are actually pretty foggy. And, what I know now is it's chronic stress. It's trauma. It's fighting broken systems. It's not having the information. Looking back now it's having incorrect information for my child. Limited information back then. Because now you're coming up and you're seeing some parents like myself who are seeing those who had early intervention, those who had therapy, all kinds of therapies. And there are consequences. For Justin in particular, there are consequences to some of the therapies that he had. Keep in mind, he's 20 years old. He had the early diagnosis. He had IBI, which is intense behavioral intervention, which is now ABA. Again, I'm never going to tell anybody what to do with their child. That's not my business. If you're not living inside that person's house, if you're not engaging with their child or helping, then I don't think you have a say. That's just me. So, Christmas time, the things that I learned to stop fighting was clothing. Everybody wants to dress up their kids so beautiful. Their girls do their hair in a dress. The boys put them in little cute suits or do whatever you want to do. Santa pictures. All those things were a struggle. Waiting in line. Looking back, this is would be like 2006 and on. Things have changed a lot. A lot for the worse because of the lack of services, supports, and funding, and respect for individuals with disabilities and their families. I heard in Saskatchewan, another mother posted, they're going back to segregation. And I see this is what is going to start happening. It's going to be separation. And I predicted this actually a long time ago. So I keep on getting off track. This ADHD, executive functioning, trying to stay on track, this is my biggest struggle. And these are the things that I get angry with because I can't stand it. Even with notes written in front of me, when I would go to IEP meetings, I would sit and be so anxious the night before and write out my notes. And what I did, I would write out the points over and over and over again in loops. ADHD, anxiety, no diagnosis. I would get to the meeting, put my notes in front of me, and do what I'm doing right now. I would talk. All that work I put into those notes the night before, never used them. What a waste of time, what a waste of energy, so much anxiety. I don't know what I could have done differently. Because when you have those diagnoses, that's what you struggle with. So, it's trying to find the coping skills and applying those coping skills. That's key to find coping skills that work for you and possibly work for your child, and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing or whatever. And I know it's hard, what everybody else thinks.